What's up, Mananap? Welcome to C++ tutorial by Code Conyu. Okay, so for today, I'm going to discuss to you the different, I don't know what shall I say this one or call this one, but in other books, we call it kinds or we actually, others call it actually construct or, and other books actually calls it uh, types, no? But when we talk about types of loops, kasi there are actually three basic types of loop in C++. So we have while loop, for loop, and do while loop. So these are the three basic types of loops, and I actually discussed this in my previous in my previous session. No, so if you guys want to check it out, so you can actually watch the video I have created for that purpose. Now, for today, I'm going to discuss the different construct of loops. It can you can use either while loop or do while or for loop for this one. So we have number one, counter controlled loop. The other one is sentinel controlled loop. The other one is flag controlled loop. And the last one is end of file loop. Now let's get to start counter controlled loop. So what's counter controlled loop? Counter controlled loop is a loop that that's actually definite loop, which means that there is a range of numbers or range of repetitions. So meaning there's an explicit number of loops it is going to repeat our statements. So it's like the entry is known by the program. So when we say we want the loop to loop from 1 to 10 or to from 1 to 5, so that's the best way you can use for that is actually counter control loop. So counter control loop use the concept or the term which is loop control variable. So when we talk about the loop control variable, this would tell the loops, now our while loops or for loops or do while, as to how much it will repeat the execution of the statements, whatever statements you have here, you have there in your while loop. So there, no? So that's the loop control variable. So mura na siya katong mga karelasyon nato, no? Mga uyab nato ninyo na kung na mga uyab na very controlling on what you will do, where you are going. So we can term that loop control variable as our mga girlfriend or boyfriend, no? Kasi they will tell us what to do. They're going to tell us where we should go or something like that. So anyway, if you still don't understand, here's the program of that. So let's say for an instance, um, we are going to create a program that would display numbers from 1 to 10. So let's say we have done this one already. So let's say 1, then num less than or equal to 10. So we have here, we're going to display the uh, value, let's say num, and then that's it. After that, we are going to, you know, increment the value. So the program would actually display numbers from 1 to 10. So the question there is, sir, which is there, which is the loop control variable there or loop control variable there. So actually the loop control variable there is 10. Okay. However, of course, this is like static, or it's already fixed in your program. The moment you run your program, it is always going to be or stops at when our num is going to be like 11, because until it is 10, I mean, unless it is while it is actually 10, it still is 10 is less than or equal to 10. That's true. So meaning to say our num would it will actually end the execution of loops displaying the numbers from 1 to 10 until the num is actually 11. Now, what if we are going to take the number from the user? Let's say for an instance, you're going to ask the user to to input the value, okay? And then to input a value for your variable. So actually, we could say now that this one is the loop control variable. So this would control the number of repetitions for our loop. So example, we have cout, enter, magtangan to siyang backslash n. So enter uh, how many iterations, okay, or something like how many times of execution, o pero ano na kaayo no, OA na. So ano na lang, how many iterations, and then we are going to just input here the value, I mean, use the CTR because our CTR, I mean, our loop would be basing on the value of CTR. So when the user inputs 5 for the value of CTR, let's say the user inputs value here, which is, let's say, 4. So our loop is going to the repeat this process 4 times. So when it is 10, so this should be executed 10 times. When it is 100, so this should be executed also 100 times. So that's the idea of loop control variable. So you know when it's going to stop the repetition. So you yourself knows that, and even your compiler, no, even any person is going to know that because the entry is known for our loop control variable. So with that, if we're going to run this one, and like earlier, we have a loop control value which is 10. So it's always the loop earlier will always be executing uh, the statements inside of while loop 10 times. But here, you can control the number of loops or the number of iterations of your program. So if you're going to input or the user is going to input 9, then it would display numbers from 1 to 9. Okay, so the same thing if we are going to add the numbers from 1 to n, that's actually the sum of natural numbers. So let's say we are going to add the value of sum, let's say 0, and then we are going to display also the value. So sum plus equals the num. So this time, every time the loop repeats the process of displaying the number, it is also going to sum the numbers from 1 to the value of n. And therefore, we could say now, like sum or the sum of numbers from 1 to, let's say, CTR, okay, or this is actually first in mathematics, this is what we call first natural numbers, is first natural numbers from 1 to n. So that's actually sum, okay? So let's say, let's run again. And you have here 5. So the sum of numbers from 1 to 5 is 15. So buta na to siya backslash n dire para magbulag sila. Okay? Magbulag. Speaking of 8. So the sum of numbers from 1 to 8 is 36. So that's loop control variable. So it's the controlling variable on it is the controlling variable telling our loops as to how much it would execute the statements here. Now, what if you are going to ask the user to, let's say, input numbers based on the how much loop you are going to how much times of input statements you are going to ask from your user. So you can do that by simply asking the user to enter a number. So let's say num, and then we're going to do that. So enter a number 1. So let's say the number of the value of the our loop control variable is 4. So yeah, 4. Then therefore it would tell the user to enter number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. So if it's 9, then it up to enter a number 9, something like that. So let's run the program now. and then we will need to change this one, no, the sum of numbers from zero, from the sum of numbers na lang. So the sum of numbers, or the sum is na lang, no, the sum is. So because we don't know kung unsa to na mga numbers. So since it is actually a unsa ni i-console, so makita nato itong mga gi-input na mga numbers. But later on, pwede nato na siya i-change into like, sige, ato sang i-try. Okay, so let's say 5 or 6. So, wa ta nagsiin. So, excited lang inyong inyong ang nagtudlo, no? So, dapat nasa ta diri input. So, ako ra tong gituyo para makita kung naminaw jud mo or you really pay attention. So you have here, let's say 6, then we have 3 and 4 and 6 and 8 and something like any number in ibutang dira. So the sum is 21. Now, if you guys want to display or concatenate this numbers right here, no, all throughout from the beginning of where the user inputs it, pwede ninyo gamitan og power, bitaw. Pwede nyo gamitan og feelings, joke lang. Pwede nyo gamitan og third party variable. So di ba? Dili lang ang third party available sa mag-uyab or sa real world na scenario. Pwede gihapon siya sa program. Ang third party variable, it's just going to be used for if whatever purpose you want to, no, so let's say for hold, we are just going to take the values, no, two strings. So here in C++, you will need to call the toString method to concatenate string and numerical value. So right here, you can have here input plus yeah, something like that. So hold plus toString input. So meaning katong gi-input nimo na mga numbers, i-concatenate to niya sa hold as a string value. So if ibutang nato na siya diri hold, and then you can now say that the sum of, so this one, the sum of 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 is, so ana, yang may tapos. So let's run the program now. And then, let's say we're going to input 7. So 5, 6, then 9. This is useful if dili console imong gamiton. Kasi pag dili siya console, most likely mag-prompt og input ang mga mag-prompt og input ang program, and then those numbers that are entered previously dili na to siya makita. Okay? Mura siya sama niya, di na siya magpakita after nimo siya after kaniya gigamit. Joke lang, after kaniya gipalipay. Bitaw, after ka nag-input if GUI siya, so mo prompt lang to siya, and then the data will be lost. Dili siya ma-display sa like this one, no? Kay naka-console man, so okay lang makita. So if that's the case, kani siya akong gibuhat karon na hold to string. This would also this is like giving the enough, no, information or representation of data on, at least if di siya console, the user now is aware of the numbers, no, kasi let's say for an instance, let's kuha na siya daghan kay numbers ki input, so di ta to memorize tanan. So with this with these things that we do here is i-concatenate nato siya para to verify whether the value really 28 is the sum of the numbers entered by the user. So kung sa Bisaya pa, i-display nato to siya tanan to verify or to confirm if tama ning 28 as the sum of these numbers. Kung especially nag GUI ka no dili console based imong program. Okay? So yeah, so that is counter controlled loop. So question, sir, pwede ba decrement po na siya? Yes, pwede kaayo. Pwede ba na dili ang increment ani niya is by 2, by 3? Pwede po, but of course, dili na siya dili na siya kung maingon tag 5, tapos 5 ang expected na number of loops ani. So naa siya'y gap na or interval, no? So let's say maingon ta og 2. So ang interval niya is from 1 then 2. So kung 5 ang value sa imong CTR, so mag-start siya sa 1, okay? And then ang increment niya is by 2 man, so sunod is 3, and then ang increment niya by next is 5. So 3 times lang ang loop dili instead of 5. Okay, so ana siya. So again, that's how counter controlled loop is going to be used or implemented in our program. So I guess so I guess we call it a day. Thank you guys for watching this video, and please support my YouTube channel by sharing and subscribing. Okay, have a great day ahead, and bye bye.